Fellow citizens, near and far. Join Newrish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear Nor Favor.
Where is one? Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to sugarcityfmsyncits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear Nor Favor. Every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
Good evening and welcome to Fear Nor Favor. Tonight I have a special guest in the person of Ras Aya. Ras Aya, welcome to the studios of Sugar City.
Greetings and thankful for your generous invitation to have Anna here on your program tonight, and may the love of the Almighty bless everyone in the format of this dialogue tonight with Brother Nital and Ras Aya, and we have another brother joining us a little shortly named Ras Mago, so we just see it as the intake of what we will take to the discussion tonight. Give thanks.
Discussion tonight will be centered around, and I don't want anybody to get it wrong, that I'm against cannabis, marijuana, weed. I just want to discuss the smoking aspect of it, and that is what we're going to discuss tonight, the smoking of it. But before I do that, let me shout out my sisters and brothers. I lost a brother yesterday.
Condolences.
Yes. And I'd like to shout out he was my father's first child. I'd like to shout out my father's second child in the person of Sanjay Powell, up there in the States. And then my father's third child, which is my mother's first child, in the person of Gwenville Powell. And then we had my father's, well, the first one died. The second one is Sanjay Powell up in the States. The third one is Gwenville Powell, who lives on Barbados but frequents St. Kitts very often. This is his born in land. Then the fourth one, Carleen Powell, over in the States. And then I am the fifth. And then my retired Sergeant Powell, police officer. She's here. And then my next sister, Katrina Powell, who is in Sandy Point. And then finally, my brother, Jefferson Powell. Of my dad's 8 children, 6 of us were teachers. And that is something that we would have put together for some time. It was a bit of a sad news, piece of a sad news, but I guess life goes on. We know there's a long line. Funny thing about it, we don't know what number we are, but millions of people in that line. We don't know if you is next or I am next or The technician is next. All we know there's a line and all of us in it.
We give thanks to more for
Right, all of us in that line. Yes. Now we are going to have a frank discussion about the smoking of cannabis or marijuana. I know it's a bit offensive when Rastafari hear the word marijuana. They prefer not to hear that word associated with the weed, but cannabis, marijuana, weed, common denominator is an understanding of what we are talking about. Now, in your opinion, what is cannabis? What do you consider to be cannabis?
Before I could go into that, I would like to give a little reverence because of balance within the human and the balance of the universe that we have to give thanks for life. You just emphasize about your brother gone into the great beyond, but we know he never died. He just transition in this time. So we just like to pray for all those who are into this moment and the ones them who have moving through life continuously at this time in physical and spiritual. So we say, praise Haile Selassie, our nation, praise Haile Selassie, the people. For his merciful kindness, the great towards us, and the truth of Haile Selassie, joy forever. Praise the Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First. Empress Menenai, great ancestors, great gods and goddesses of the ancient black eternal race. And we do that because we are spiritual people, are theoretical people, to have the being it we always go with the truth of light. So you ask of what do we see as herb? You say cannabis because it's a scientific word, but herb is the benefactor that we enhance. So we say it's an element that brings forth spiritual vibration. And when we say spiritual vibration, mean the cosmic powers that enhance the celestial and the terrestrial. So those are the format. We coming from a spiritual level of the use of herbs. So that's why we say spiritual vibration. We're not here to use herb as like some jacketing. We're looking at it as a way of vital cleansing and building a holistic level of life.
Let me ask a question. There are so many ways in which the cannabis could be put to use.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we still choose the smoking over the other means? Why do we still gravitate towards smoking? What is so special about smoking?
You use the word why we choose. You're using your in it or choosing it too.
When I put we, I'm not going to be biased. I do not use it.
Well, we gotta be frank on the level of this. That the Rastafari aspect of herb is being used in at the level of sacrament. So we see it in the sacrament of not just by smoking it, but references based that level alone, because that is the context that many people feel of it. So the smoking part of it is about the elevation of the cosmic connection.
And we're going to try to keep it in a way that the listeners could understand it.
Cosmic, when nobody could, we just
We
use
have
the word.
different capacity, different IQ.
Yeah.
We're going to try to keep it as simple
Civil and joy.
as possible.
So that is not simple in the term.
Well, yes, but sometimes even if you use a term, you feel like you could elaborate on it. So
Well, if you ask for confirmation to give, I will give that.
But my question was, why smoke? What do you achieve by smoking?
The smoke give you a inner balance of use of the herb itself, because it's able to stimulate the, as you call it, the pineal gland. You see? And in the pineal gland, that instrument in there is where we call the cosmic power, where we go back to carbon energy. So all that is built within, just like our vehicle need the engine to calculate its mind. His body works. His carrying, his smoke can bring us to that same moment of, as you call it, aspiration, spiritual love. Care.
When you smoke marijuana, weed, you get a feeling that is different to your normal feeling. Am I correct?
Not basically the normal feel. That's like still in your, you're still in your you're still in your standards. You can't be out here.
Outside the use of marijuana, you would have a particular feeling. I would consider that your normal feeling. When you use the marijuana now, you get a different feeling. What causes you to consider that feeling a high? Because there are many persons, many scientists who consider that a low. So I'm putting it to you so you could clarify. What sort of feeling you experience that it dawns upon you that you should label it a high?
I don't use the word where you use last. I use the word meditation. And that's where we got a different formality of how you express it. Now, if you're going to use, and I start all up and I say we're starting from a spiritual moment. The spiritual moment is not just something that come within this. It's something that have already been existed. So fire, based on the element, is 4 elements the universe consists of: earth, water, fire, and the other is.
You tell me.
I will bring it in later, but I know it's 4 elements. But I just want to base this here that the fire itself is a cosmic and a cosmic fire that bring us to that basic format. That's why we say the smoking of it will able to keep you to that level of consciousness, not high consciousness.
Okay, well, maybe you don't consider it to be high, or you prefer not to use a particular narrative. But what is that feeling that you feel good or you feel like most people? And when I say you, it could be average person. Why do they consider it a high? Why scientists consider it a low?
Scientists consider it a low because they don't use it. If they were using it, they would be able to see the concept of how the family to give us that vibration. It's a vibration feeling. It's bringing back to where I consider now back to cosmic power of our ancestors. We knew with our people from that time to this time. So it's not something that we're going to be able to say, oh, we gone to a different farm. We have this still in that farm. Our people just connected.
I would never accept that is the best way to use the marijuana.
Well, you don't use it like that, so you can't accept it.
Yeah, but you would have to defend that.
Well, I'm defending it from home.
I'm not going to defend anything.
I'm defending
for you.
it to tell you. So you can't tell you're defending it for me.
I'm going to be polite. As usual, I'm going to massage the conversation. But we are having a debate. Now, when you smoke, when you light up that grass, let me say grass.
Vegetable is not grass.
When you light up the plant, and you inhale the smoke. You inhale the smoke via your nostrils, and then it goes down into your lungs. Some will go into your brain area because there is no barrier, membrane up there per se. And that is why people get high a little quicker by that method. Now, when smoke is produced, you have particles that are swallowed along as part of the smoke. Those fine particles could clog your lungs. The particular area that becomes clogged is the alveoli, the little sacs in your lungs. Well, if all that would happen, why persons still resort to smoking? And this is not any maybe. If you look at a car engine and you take out the filter, you would see how the filter is because it is taking out the particles and the muck out of it, and sometimes you have to change it. That's when you got to service your vehicle. Well, if there is nowhere to service a human lung unless there's somewhere that you would have to tell me about. Because you can't take it out and clean it and put it back in. And that is why most smokers would end up with some challenges.
Like what?
When they cough regularly. Some people got smokers cough for years. Some people deal with things differently and it might not impact everyone the same way. Well, if we're quite aware of that, why do we still insist on swallowing that smoke?
Because it's good to swallow. It's not none to danger the mind, but the Nital, and I will stay with that on a frank base, because if you are a person who know of the use that you're having in your body, and you don't give no detail to danger your lungs, as entail that you say that it create these different particles. The particles that are not to enhance or discharge, not going on into your lungs, into your brains, or your nostrils. That nothing can be.
You got on your respiratory tract.
But you ain't gonna destroy. It's not destroying nothing.
It might not destroy it one time.
But
over a period of time.
Of what?
It could create some issues.
No, man.
Lung cancer.
Truly? Proven that there to me and tell me how that formation of it could create lung cancer, because there is no value of that indicating of no method or technology cook said those are the things that happen when one smoke of the herb itself naturally. I mean natural stage.
Well, it's there. It is amazing how we who use this smoke, and I'm going to say we to represent everybody, we like to hold on to science when it is convenient for us, because we speak about the many benefits of marijuana, because the scientists are the ones who told us about those benefits. But when those same scientists tell us about the dangers and the harm, all of a sudden we don't want to hear what they say.
Well, you indicate that when they tell us the danger and the harm, when it's straight one thing, that the creation commit in everything that is naturally. When you come with something natural, you can't give you no harm.
No, you can't say that. Something natural things can't cause you any harm.
Let me see.
Yes, they have a lady died the other day. She overconsumed water. Who would have ever believe that somebody would have died for overconsumption of water? We say water is vital for life. You tell people drink 6 glasses a day. A woman, two children, she died because she overconsumed water, and you can get intoxicated from water. So it is not like something natural can cause you any harm. That is a misconception.
Of what? That's actually the herb cannot cause you harm. That's a, but water and herb is not the same element. It's two different
But
elements.
nobody expect water to cause you harm, and I tell you, the woman died from overconsumption of water.
Yes, but that is what the formation of water did to her. Herb didn't do that to her, no, man, in smoking.
So
you said that you
create
create the particles differently, that you go down into respiration system. And that will create different organs to have a dysfunctional pattern.
Yes, but that is only part of it. The particles that go down with the smoke. There's only one aspect. But I'll tell you, marijuana has over 420 something different chemicals, made up of over 420 something. And when
you're the scientist by
I'm a chemist. I studied.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a chemist.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm saying that when you light a spliff and the different chemicals them, because sometimes to bring about a chemical reaction, you need energy. And the energy is given via the fire. And then the many chemicals inside of the marijuana would start to react with each other. So in reality, you might not want to hear this, but we are debating. In reality, when we light a spliff, we do not know exactly what we are inhaling. Swallowing.
Consuming.
Yes.
Yeah, my brother Nital, you are the person who creating the development of that same herb to come into your body structure.
Yeah, but let me try to create up. If you have acid in a glass and an alkali in a next glass, you mix them together. They carry out a chemical reaction, and it will produce salt and water. That's a chemical reaction. That's only two chemicals, an acid and a base. When you have 420 something different chemicals in marijuana and you light it, you know how many different products you could produce? So I'm saying when we smoke by lighting the marijuana, we don't know exactly what we are swallowing. Yes, you're programmed to believe that everything that comes from it is beneficial. And you have a right to do that.
That program, study it well too. That program.
But if you study it well, when you get a chance to do your studies again, I want you to research.
It's more learning, because
Yes.
we've never stopped with the vital of the studies of it, because
Yes.
it's a plant that able to bring you to a clear view of its values and its potential.
Yeah, I agree. When you take herb and you put it in some water, warm water, and you dry it and you drink your tea, that is not sufficient heat to cause the chemicals to react. So you warm it, you get out the 420, let us say 420. You warm it, you drink it, you consume 420 different chemicals. But when you light it and the chemicals get a chance to react with each other, there are millions of different products that you're swallowing and you do not know. That is what I'm trying to tell you. So why would we choose to smoke it when we can simply dry it and drink the tea? Or you make your little paste and you use it for your eyes and that sort of stuff there. Why would we just choose smoking? Because of the difference, the differential in feeling when we finish. And as much as many persons would refer to it as a high, scientists and researchers would consider it as a low because they say you become euphoric.
And lose what?
And anxious.
Losing what?
It is a mind-altering substance.
Wow. So that means you don't think for your own mind.
No, you have chemicals that would cause you to think a certain way. Like you say, you feel good. That's a mind-altering substance. Because how you get to feel good? You feel good within your mind because the chemicals going to your brain and whatever reaction happening there. So you get a kind of feel good. You describe it as feel good. Others...
I said meditation, not feel good.
Yeah, well, meditation causes you to meditate.
You close it at how you feel. That's how you...
Okay, cause you to meditate better.
Go ahead.
And to meditate better, it could mean that you are slowed down to take your time and concentrate on what you're doing. Because some churches, the Coptic church in Jamaica,
The Coptic church,
they have the workers. They have the industrials and they have the workers smoking weed so it could slow them down so that the delicate objects that they handle within the industry, they could take their time and don't smash them.
Because some people have different moments in how what they use over smoking the work at a different capacity than others. You know that, right?
Some people get slowed down
And some
considerably.
people have different work of going further within than slowing down.
Yeah, but
while they're using the same smoking element.
But generally,
And that's a
smoking a weed that slow you down.
No.
Yes. Check out some footballers, and we have many of them who consume marijuana.
At this the basic of how we see in the football format right now in St. Kitts and Nevis.
You don't see people sprinting up and down the place. Once a man take a spliff, and he under feel, some of them move around very slowly.
That's not a proven fact. Like I say, that's a
The majority of them
outline to you that basic. Some one have faster element in using it, and some have the slow element of how they will act with it.
Yeah, we're made up differently, but on average, when people...
You have an average, or you're just assuming an average? Like, I mean an average because there's a figure out number.
Because I played various sports. I played cricket.
So you see
I
in
played soccer.
your experience then.
I played soccer for Newtown, you know.
You don't got to tell me
I played
that.
cricket for Newtown, you know. I run track and field for the island.
Yes, we applaud that
and
strength.
I am saying that guys, when they done smoke up, when they're supposed to be moving swiftly, most of the time you don't witness that.
we have a balance, and that's why we'll phase it as, because it is that time when some, as I say, will be slow to move using herb, and some react fast with using it, still smoking. And I see that on a basic level. I could decode where you just say, and I still could decode that there is two levels of basic movements. And it's not about making up the body, it's how one handle the use of it.
Yeah, I understand. Now, we gonna talk all night, you know.
Carl, let me just tell you
go
this
ahead.
here. Yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
me not burn the herb for the whole day until in the night.
Mm-hmm.
And when I burn the herb in the night, that come me to a feeling like I burn more than one herb. Even though that, when I reach home, still I continue burning. We just like it give you a week start of just it once. If you don't catch it in the morning, you catch it in the afternoon, you feel vibration like you just start the morning.
You feel high, yes.
No, vibration.
You feel high. I gonna say high.
So how you use the term to get high?
That is why I'm telling you, because many persons or people got a high, but I want a high again, a bang, again, a smoke some
You know
weed.
how you defy but the Nital, and you know as a
And that is why
how
when-
it's like you go out of your own.
No, it's not like that.
What
High
it is?
mean like a very good feeling to those who describe it as that. But I'm telling you that they have scientists who describe that high as a law, because it is euphoric and you get
So
to
you see,
start to feel anxious.
You say that the scientists them describe it. Those who say it's a high for them, it is a law because it indicate that it gives them a different outline in how they're supposed to be reacting. Are they supposed to be connecting within things they're supposed to do? He or she do.
You got two major chemicals in marijuana. One that produce that high, and the other one produce the opposite.
And two major chemicals.
CDBs.
Yeah, so when you look at the CBD and the THC.
You right.
Okay.
THC is the one that gives you the higher. CDB is the one that keep you nice and mellow. You understand? So it depends on the
The
constituent.
total balance, but in Italy, I will stand firm with that because we have been able to see that we separate them, we're unable to get the knowledge that needed to stand. So that's why we say we use those two in the balance. We never dispose them, but there's different ways we can break out when we're doing that. Like we say, soap. We use linen, we break down those things there. So those are the kind of fabric that the CBD can fabric within a lot of status of those. You see the hemp shade, that's what a major factor where the CBD indicate a lot of strength within the economy.
Let us look at the social aspect of smoking. Many persons, many young men, when they start to smoke, they sacrifice their academics. You can't get them go to school because they go by community centers, they go by park, they go under a tree, they go on a pasture, anywhere they could hide. And they get involved in smoking because that would have taken priority. Maybe some of them are addicted. But I want to ask you a question. Do you feel that marijuana is addictive?
No. And why I say no, I'm not being biased because I'm a man who in the Rastafari faith and I use herb. I've been in fact within seeing that it cannot be addictive because if it's addictive, you know what addictive means, that you don't have no stable of yourself moving from point A to point B. And these are measures that enough youths are being favored by influence of control mechanism and by guidance. We need guidance to keep our youth on a stable path. So herb in this full entirety could never be addictive, and that's by seeing the facts saying out on the general public. Because if why is it that we still want to define the youth, them of the use of it? Why?
But you said a while ago that, was it yesterday or today? Someday you spent all day you did not smoke any weed. But in the evening now, the addiction kick in.
Wow.
I'm telling you, the addiction kick in and you couldn't resist it. The addiction you talk about, it's not addictive. But you couldn't even make it throughout the whole day without smoking.
Wow.
So you come and you plaster it nice and you paint it and you put it in the way that if you don't catch it first thing in the morning, you catch it in the night. night caught up with you and you realize time was going and you didn't get a chance to pull your spliff. So you didn't have the energy to resist it. Your mind telling you got to consume some of that.
The vibration was
So
there.
you get up and you went, and I don't believe not one spliff you smoke either. I believe it's about 2. And then you say you start to feel irie. Am I correct? You said it a while ago.
That's my meditation. I will feel within my vibe, and even though I would like to express why I say I did not use the herb on the time, because we were just dealing with something on the ground, so we had to get to those grounds there. So when we ain't doing nothing, because we don't work for nobody. I work for myself. I do a hustling as a stamming ballman, so I know how to employ myself in the use what I need when I need herb and how I need to do so. But I'm not going to deter what Brother Nital trying to say that I am saying that I prove it and all and said addicted. I could never come from
You're
him.
addicted.
I could never come from him being addicted.
How you
because
could let it pass without smoking?
Did they pass? It didn't pass. It just didn't come into farm.
But that is what I'm telling you.
You know how you...
And they ever passed by
yeah.
and you don't smoke?
Yeah, we don't had experience and all in the time. And I would
That's
say
way
that
back.
No, not
40-something years ago.
No. I'm talking of experience. I'm being frank with my experience, because I could say this year without any stumbling or any fear of it. I have able to look at time and I just no use herb at all. I just vibrate myself differently, because man was going and I'm advised of different struggles at that time. So we just feel that vibe, like we just relax the mind and a different, but still we had things were made of herb we were using but not smoking of it. You see?
But
yes,
we want to deal with the smoking.
Yeah, that's what I tell you. Because I open up in my presentation, it's holistic. I don't look at herb as a smoking factor, but your discussion is about the smoking.
The smoking.
So
when we see the young men them smoking, young men and women smoking, we get in a call there. If you can call back, you can essay again, caller. Your number is 466-01 0903 and 466-1113. No, that one is not operational. 466-0903, and we would gladly have you a part of the discussion. Why, when the more experienced guys, the adults them who working, and they see juveniles and those guys missing school, and I'm talking about in the summer, school time, at the height of school time, why we don't exercise our conscience and tell the youths them, look, I think that you should be in school. Because the smoking, we just feel like it's okay, because smoking is good. Why we don't encourage the young men them to go and get their academics?
Education.
Or develop a skill. Why they just have to just spoil out all day and spend an entire day just smoking?
Influence is that pattern that have been embraced down into our society a lot, and that's why you see for our youth is not gravitating to hold themselves in education. And it's time now the youth them ain't look at this moments and say, no, we just want to smoke a spliff. Let us look at education to open up the mind value. I could use from my experience as a youth, because I smoke over levels in school, but not foolishly neither. Not just going on the street, because we had guidance on our path. That's why we could say we were going within a value of our community. But it's how this community now derive, we don't see a value at all.
But why you are not offering a guidance to the youngsters them? You have got the experience in keeping yourselves together. Why that has not been transferred or policed into the younger ones them? Why are they spiraling out of control with this smoking?
Well, I think we always look at, as Naya Bingi house, and even to the Rastafari community, I feel that we should be able to work side by side with the society, but at time to time, the society do not value to work with us as Rastafari community. So we find ourselves on an outskirt of this development in our society. It's only how we find it that if we don't get some of these airwave of the initiative towards speaking to our people. And sometimes even then when we go to the school to make a contribution as books to the schools, those are the only methods that we have. But we don't want that alone. What we're looking at is that we can have initiative states that we can work with, even afternoon program and them things. That these are methods that we want valued for our youth to as a part of our Rastafari community, helping the development.
Okay. The government would have taken steps heading in a direction to give a little more freedom to the hub. You agree?
No.
Okay. You might not be satisfied with the degree to which they have done
but
that.
There's steps.
There are steps to be taken, and incrementally that is what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was seen from a medicinal perspective, and I just cannot connect the dots when we speak about medicinal marijuana, because nobody talking about no recreational marijuana. The initial thing was medicinal marijuana, and then we put down a designated smoking area. I don't even know if I must call it IC or medical ward or whatever, because if it's medication, it is medicinal marijuana. So people would have gathered at a designated spot to take the medicine. And I did not see the consistency and the parallel of that with medicinal marijuana. That was more recreational. So it seems as if we are talking about medicinal marijuana, but what we are seeing from a pragmatic or practical perspective is recreational marijuana. You smoke.
Mm-hmm.
What ailment you have to be taking this medicinal marijuana?
I don't have any ailments. That level don't really fit, and that's why I says this.
And when I say you, I mean
I know
you
the general
else.
term of what we think. Not just
You don't see it as recreational?
We have it in a car.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to Fear in Our Favor with my special guest, Ras Aya.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Love and honor.
Why you keep on the word of marijuana?
I use all version. I say marijuana, cannabis, weed, so that the listening audience could have a grasp.
But we do not come that sound. We do not, well, the word marijuana, we know the origin of it. It comes from that kind of, that fighting, when they start the fight against the Mexicans.
Yes.
We do not use marijuana.
So you prefer to hear weed then?
We do not use weed neither. We use the tree of life.
So
our sacrament is the tree of life. We do not use marijuana. We do not use weed.
but if you're having a discourse and you want the people in the general public to understand.
Well, the general public, we have to educate the general public also, because things gone wrong from them times, and what we not welcoming them sound. And people are more addicted to the junk food what they eat than to the herb. There's no addictive vibe with the herb. None whatsoever. People will tell you that they start to use herb and stop. If there was any addiction, they wouldn't stop. There is no addiction. They're addicted to the junk food that they cannot stop using.
But something similarly can be said about people who smoke marijuana.
If they get addicted to marijuana, then it shows that term there and the things what they call marijuana is not like unto the tree of life. It is completely different. Marijuana is things that grow with chemical. Hey,
Okay, let us put it this way. Let us say the tree of life, you're going to call it A.
You-
We're going to call it A.
As host of the program, you should know the story of marijuana.
Of course, I studied all of that, yes.
Of course. So keep the reason in that level.
But we are having a debate. Everybody can be singing the same song.
Listen to me. This is time that we take with people consciousness on a higher level. Come off of that marijuana level. That level is low. We don't need that level.
But we could take it even higher and give the scientific name of the tree of life.
That is why the youth them is confused. Because we keep the tree of life into that comparison jug basket. Yeah? In that comparison jug basket with cocaine, crack, rum, cigarette, marijuana, etc. So when they dip into that basket, they do not have the mentality to differentiate. Because you are already telling that everything in that basket is bad. The solution to herb and the youth them is to remove the herb from inside of that comparison jug basket with cocaine, with heroin, with crack, with rum, with cigarette, and with marijuana.
But the issue is that we are not denying the benefits that can be had from the utilization of the tree of life.
Yeah.
We are saying there are many ways in which to use it.
Yeah.
And I'm discussing with Ras Aya, why do we choose smoke over the many other ways in which it can be used?
But here, Ras Aya is a Rasta man, just like myself. And the herb is our sacrament. It's our sacrament and our food. We use it in all those forms. We use it smoking, eating, drinking, every form. Because we know the use of it. Whatever smoking vibes we go through with our body, which is the temple of the Most High, we are prepared for that because our body, our goodie is ital. We do not eat like the ordinary person. We do not drink like the ordinary person. So therefore, when we use herb in our goodie, in our body, whether we smoke it, eat it, drink it, everything is good.
Consumer.
Unlike persons whose body are different. And that's why we encourage the youth them to eat and drink healthily.
Okay, nobody denying the fact that there are some benefits to be had. We are going to look at the fact that we are on a trajectory to give more freedom to the use of the tree of life. Now, you have youngsters who would go to Port Zante because I listen to a radio program. I think it was Ras Aya who they were referring to. They made reference to some youngsters who go on to the people's place of business and take out the tree of life and they start to roll the spliff.
Hey, listen to me. Please stop in your tracks. We do not know whether they had the tree of life or whether they had marijuana. That is what I'm saying. There's a difference. So help us to show the youth them the difference in that.
But how could anyone just decide that is the tree of, what test do you carry out for the tree of life? If I see Ras Aya burning a spliff, how do I know that is the tree of life?
We know that the youth them isn't in a position to differentiate. We know that. So therefore, folks like you and program like this and the system should put us in the authoritative position to educate the youth them.
But I have a WhatsApp message, and the person said to tell you the tree of life is different from weed.
What is the tree of life?
Wrong with the herb. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the herb. The system is wrong from them times to put it in that comparison jug basket with jugs.
Yeah, but you're still putting your emphasis on the jug and the marijuana and that. We done past that. We're dealing with, and it is interesting, if you carry out a survey and you ask persons what is the tree of life,
Yes.
People giving you different answers.
Of what?
Where do you go for the solution? How do you know what is correct with respect to the tree of life?
How do we know? We know what we know. We don't believe this, you know.
No.
We know that the herb is the tree of life. We know that.
But other people see other herbs as the tree of life. So who is right and who is wrong?
Not right. Who? What is truth?
And who is wrong?
What is the truth? The truth is what we define.
Creation shows who is right and who is wrong. Creation does that. Creation, the whole of good creation does that. The whole of good creation does that. Give thanks. Blessed love.
Yeah, thanks much for your
Give
input.
thanks for the word, sir.
You see, that very same issue.
Based
They
on.
have persons referring to other plants as the tree of life.
But the value factor is that it shows you that the herb is the most prominent value of the tree of
Yeah,
life.
but why is it
It's
called the
because
tree of
many
life?
people-
Why is it called the tree of life?
The whole format of holistic leverage.
Holistic leverage in the sense of what? What they got? Vitamins? Vitamin A, B, C down to K?
We don't use vitamin. We don't come from
But plants and sugar
We look
vitamins.
for
Marijuana has in
mineral,
vitamins.
iron and zinc. We all in compound in that. Yeah, that's why we come back within the same format where I start from. The cosmo. The chlorophyll is what base the same formality of what we deal with for the herb. The herb.
But other plants got in chlorophyll.
Yes, we have.
Chlorophyll is a compound with magnesium at the center as the central cation. That is chlorophyll. That's what plants need to make food.
And we human beings need to confine with our spiritual elements too.
Human being can make food. We are consumers.
We are consumers.
The plants are the producers.
Yes, so those are the vital factors that the herb itself bring to us.
Right, so how many different plants got chlorophyll a part of it? You Rastafari would hold on the fact that they feel deeply, and it goes that they put it out there as the weed, as we say, is the tree of life.
Weed,
But I tell you, you have people, other people in the society, in the entire world, who would see other plants as the tree of life.
And that's make the difference in considering that the herb is not the tree of life still. It's still going to give you the full
A
pint.
particular group would consider, like you and Ras Eli, would consider, and the parallels would consider the herb to be the tree of life. You have other persons, I've been around debates, and other persons consider other plants as the tree of life. So who to say who is correct and who is wrong?
You see the aspect where the elder just outlined to you and the audience listening is that we have the herb as our sacrament and is a vital point in holding the herb for all the way that we knew it from its whole entirety. That's why we say it's the tree of life.
Yeah, but other people say other people got other tree. They say the tree of life.
They say use leaf. They say use the leaf, but we said use the whole entire thing. That the herb
A tree is not the leaves alone. The root, the stem, the xylem, the phloem, all those things that make up.
But they define some method of how to use that same level of that you indicate as a tree of life.
You push your narrative because it is convenient. That is
Wow.
No, what I'm saying is that it's convenient for you to be consistent.
I just study
with
my
your
herb,
life.
my herb
Right.
around me too. I just don't use just one type of my study with herb alone and the smoking. I use other herbs because the herbs that we use differently in the various farms is like of different factors that can create our body development.
I totally agree with you.
Okay,
And you showed respect for your elder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you, my grandfather was older than Ras Eli, and he gave a different story.
Formation of the
So
tree of
I
life.
got the right to say too
What?
that my elder told me about the tree of life, and it wasn't marijuana.
What he tell
It
you?
wasn't herb.
What he tell you?
There are many persons who got.
This is where you can give one of them, which is very funny, that he can say this is something that he create, he have feel from his experience of use.
You know that the weed or the tree of life
Not
would-
really the herb.
Yeah, but if you look at definition, okay, we're not going to get into science. You know that the herb would have gone through many changes. As a matter of fact, the potency of the herb would have increased considerably over the past 20 to 30 years.
Well, you said that because of,
Science, you could test
and
the
that's
potency.
that's it indicate from different
The labs,
format,
yes, the lab.
of straining within something that is not of the same. So it's like a creating of a craft, a grafting.
So
method.
right, but so we have gone so far from the original. We have deviated so far from the original.
Okay, you see
How
that now?
could you still refer to the modern day herb as the
Still,
tree of life?
because he is still, he never gone
Oh,
away
it
yet.
gone.
He never
Despite
gone
the
away. He
deviation.
never gone away yet. It's still here.
You
that's
see
why
some fruits don't have seeds. Where the seed them gone?
We-
Modern biotechnology.
But that means because the modern biotechnology that we're going
Where they do the same thing with the herb.
Yeah, they do it. That's why the elder
So-
outline that they use them using those things on a format to.
So where
enhance
could I get
the
some?
chemical?
Okay,
component.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They use them. That's why the elder outline, and others who are able to have the experience of that. You see, because when we see the herb or we consume it, and there's a lot of synthetic herb around here in the world, not just sinks and nevis. And it's crafted by the Chinese in particular, how they gravitate this industry and this, because you outline about a context within the herb use around here, and how the legislation have informed about medical herb. And you say, you even ask me if in the context of the medical herb, I don't have to apply within that, because you when you look at the same industry that they try to imply at the music festival, as they say 420 friendly, you see recreation as that use, and so you look at things kind of confused. That's what your statement.
Okay. So the herb is the tree of life.
Yes.
A herb that would have gone
That is
through.
not a part of any synthetic chemical makeup. And we have to be frank and fair within this society.
Where a herb that would have gone through many deviations from the original. Ras Aya, could you tell me somewhere where I can get the original herb, which is referred to by you and your umbrella of people as the tree of life? So is it no longer the tree of life because it would have deviated so much from the original herb?
The chair life is still around in that.
So where could I get?
ones that I
Where
tell you
could I
this-
get some
the
of the
one-
original?
It's here, wait till me wash you want some.
No man, that they don't go through all kind of changes, man.
How you could say
But
that?
that's what I'm telling
How
you.
you could say you got to change it when the format is that I giving you the stage of what this I using, and is not none of no synthetic chemical makeup.
How
'Cause you
long?
see,
How long ago?
Let me
ma-
say when
yeah,
you
sorry,
say synthetic,
very sorry. Go ahead.
synthetic chemical makeup. They have some herb where they call as some kind of special name I hear in around here, and they're calling them low. They're calling them purple haze. So these are the same formation that we see. All use are detailed within, and some of these things are in concept to destroy some of the contents of your mind, brains, and your body build up. So you can go to Newrish Nital.
So are you telling me, Ras Aya, my very good friend, that all these years that the weed would have been around, it has not gone through any evolutionary changes?
And the evolution changes is what? If it's not sensimile or not cali, well, it could be evolution change.
So you're telling me the weed has remained the same after so many decades of being around on the earth? No change, no mutation, nothing at all?
It's two components, sensimile, it's as you say, and I don't tell you, it can be changed. It's grafted. It is. How you change it? Your changes cannot be make them. How you change it is that you're grafting something to create another method of what you don't want to stick with the original.
Ras Aya, it is not just mankind who would go and bring about synthetic changes to a plant. You have the natural growth of plant over a period of time. For whatever reason, You have animals, pathogens, and so that would affect plants, and the plants would react in such a way to negate the impact of the pathogen on it, so it would go through its own structural changes. You can't tell me that the marijuana from long ago,
Herb.
yeah, the herb, the tree of life,
Tree of life.
from so long ago, has not gone through any structural change for so long.
Yeah,
So where could I get an original piece of the tree of life?
Right here. And I see us about what I said too.
So why the potency would have gone up so many folds? Why the potency would have gone up so many folds? Let us take a break.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar Soda 90.3 for Fear Nor Favor.
Where is man? Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to SugarCityFMSinkits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear Nor Favor every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM. Fellow citizens, near and far, join Newrish Nital on Sugar Soda 90.3 for Fear Nor Favor.
Where is man? Where is the cancer man? No runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to SugarCityFMSinkits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join Newrish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as Newrish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear Nor Favor every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
Welcome back, and we have our next guest. He has just arrived in the person of Ras Mago. Welcome to Fear No Favor. I gotta lick up your voice a little. I know you got a strong voice.
Powerful voice. That's the bar, right?
Yes.
Blessed.
Okay, just within the context, because my good friend, Ras Eli, called a while ago and indicated that it is not marijuana, it is not weed, it is the chi of life. Now, I tell him different people refer to different plants as the chi of life. I just Google the chi of life. In West Africa, and this is what it says, in West Africa, the South Asian Moringa oleifera chi is regarded as the chi of life or miracle tree by some because it is arguably the most nutritious source of plant derived food discovered on the planet. So there is no. Feel free to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You refer to the herb as the chi of life. I have Googled and I asked the technician there to Google as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she might have come up with something different to what I have here. But I'm telling you that the moringa is considered to be the chi of life in West Africa. What do you have to say with regard to that?
Blessed evening. I is Ras Mago Isaac from Tank Valley, Pakean. Yeah. The herb is a Nital.
Yes.
You say Ras Eli X say is the tree of life.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Ras Eli X is an elder that lived for a very long time using the herb.
Mm-hmm.
I know Ras Eli X, and I know that him get great inspiration from the herb. So it's the inspirational tree of life.
Yeah, because while we're talking, you have people messaging, indicating that it is not the herb that is the tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that you have many persons from different cross sections of the world consider different plants to be the tree of life. I went on to ask Ras Aya. So this herb has been around for umpteen years.
Thousands of years.
Right. So you want to tell me that that original herb that was considered the chi of life has not gone through any changes? Where could I get an original piece of herb that was considered the chi of life?
That may very well be at this time a very difficult thing to come about, because it's so long that they man deal with this tampering program as to see how well they could poison I and I from half a years out. You know what I mean? They're fighting all their life to make sure they keep us, that we will always be their slaves. This, the whole Bengue, the every law in our area that say that the herb is a violation of themselves. In our circles, Mr. Nital, the illegal status of the herb is a violation of forgery in our circles. Forgery is a criminal offense. You know, carry high level of sentence. And you tell me that something that violates the will so highly still come around and be a whip to whip your citizens into abuse? Because that's what I and I see happen over the years, you know. Because the tremendous abuse that I and I brethren and sisters go through, even when I was going to school, I see that happen. I reach father, see it happen. Now reach grandpa, and it still happen.
Okay, so you don't think, well, you respect your elder as Eli,
Yeah.
and like I was telling as Aya, a lot of people got elders.
Yeah.
I have grandfather, great grandfather, grandmother, great grandmother. So for other people, there are different categories of elder.
Yeah.
So you would be guided by the narrative of your elder because you say he would have gained a lot of inspiration throughout the years
Yes, yes.
from the consumption or the utilization of the tree of life. I'm going to call it the tree of life. Well, other persons have other narratives.
There will always be.
Yeah, there would always be.
There will always
But
So
then
we-
the factors that being the basic, that the narrative what they have will formulate the status of what is the tree of life. Because on the context, he said all urban seed, but he said this herb itself is a herb of your vital intake from the inside, outside.
Who said that? Where can I
The-
find that quotation? You see, that is what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Because you're going to give me a narrative.
Narrative.
And I'm from a scientific category of persons. And we always have to substantiate our claim with citations. Where could I find a citation that you just put in the
Outline.
public's domain?
Outline.
Domain, yeah. Where can I, in the Bible?
The scriptures are values at some point in there indicate of the same thing. And I will look at in Psalms that outline, Psalm 18, outline that. Psalms 18. So we ain't just bringing things because we want to make things be ability. And I don't, as I would tell, I do not have no belief in what I do. I know what I am doing.
So if I look in the Bible, I could find the word marijuana, cannabis.
No, not
weed,
the word.
define
Not the
herb.
word. It is defined as herb, as the elder said,
Well,
shape like.
how many different herbs
Herbs.
are there? How do you know specifically which one the narrative refers to? How do we know?
I mean,
You, how I know is that I use many different herbs. Many different herbs. There is none more inspirational to I and the marijuana herb, as they say, cannabis, you know what I mean? Whatever, because as I touch, I say marijuana because the marijuana is where the confusion lies. Every aspect of the herb that outlaw was outlaw in the name of marijuana.
I'm with you. I'm giving you a chance to express yourself. because I want you to be.
Marijuana, as we know, was never anywhere on planet Earth a plant.
So there are many different type of herbs.
Yeah.
How can we specify that it is what we call marijuana, so to speak?
I touch,
That is the tree of life.
I touch breadfruit, Christophine, all the different bush. There is none more inspirational to I and the herb.
And when you say inspirational, for the general public who listening,
Yeah.
when you say inspirational, what do you mean by inspirational?
He inspired I to the point where anything that I do better.
Does that mean that they have many things that could inspire people?
But I tell you, I use all
Yeah.
different types. So I got to hold on to the one that take me to that
carry
level.
more to the level.
I have never used marijuana or herb, and I would have been inspired in many different ways.
Powerful man like you.
Yeah,
You
never.
never touch the herb.
No,
You're missing out.
but I'm doing well without it though. Yeah, I'm
in,
doing well
in,
without
in the state of society, not in the state of the divine. Because in the divine there is connection. That's why we say we must employ that as a part of our spiritual food. It's brain food it is. It's brain food, creativity within mind, body and spirit.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is when the elder call in and talk about the
The tree of life. The tree of life.
Because we have
It can't be a problem.
we have deviated from that Yes.
How you
have something you call modern biotechnology, where they use the technology and they try to
Big
manipulate and create some effects that they would like. Like, okay, they want thing without seeds. Nowadays you squeeze a lime, no seed dropping out.
Yeah.
You get grape, you got seedless grape, seedless lime. You got a lot of seedless fruits around. So originally they would have had to come from seeds. So you have to ask yourself now, where these seeds gone?
They ain't gone nowhere, but they're still basic there. That's what I tell you.
Them
It's
are
how they
master.
create. Eh?
Them are mass them are to get the poisonous agenda go out.
You see, because what happens
still
is
got
that
them.
sometimes you have pests interfering with people crop.
Crops, yeah.
So based on the modern biotechnology, they would have designed or come up
It's something that
with
them cannot.
things that would not, the pests, instead of having to go and apply pesticides, they bring forth a product that would resist that. You understand? That is a cheaper way, a better way than having to spread things with chemicals. So it depends on what they want to create, that they go in the lab and they do what they have to do. Now I'm saying, just like how they do the lime and the grapes and the fruits, and those are, because if we got to go squeeze something out to plant a lime tree, we don't get to see them from. So if the marijuana would have gone
That's
through...
grafting, but Nital, that's what you see. There's a method that had been disposed from the natural stage of it.
Poisonous agenda.
Yeah, but I'm saying that apart from mankind, the natural plant itself
It don't graft.
would be subjected to certain challenges.
Of what? Once it's in this
You
own
got
natural stage, you won't
got
get
pathogens in the
destroyed by
soil.
nothing.
So then they start to deviate from the norm in order to resist the challenges
Of how they go.
from the animals and whatever else attacking them. You understand? So when they deviate from that, you have like a kind of mutation. So I would refuse to believe that after all these years,
You think nothing there still?
I don't believe there's any original
Yeah, this
tree of life.
Yeah,
Too
man.
many things would have happened. You have things that go extinct. Things that leave the face of the earth, both animals and plants.
We agree with that. That's a
Yeah.
point.
Huh?
I agree with that. You say you agree, but I mean,
But I
the
do-
hope can be extinct. The hope we know it's extinct.
Yeah, but it would
From its
never
natural not from the
deviate
original
from
form.
the original form. How come you don't want to accept that after all these years, the herb is still the same herb?
You got a lot of tampering that take place over time.
And in that
But
with mankind alone,
No.
it's with the natural
With plant,
growth of the
animal,
plant,
everything, the
right?
whole works.
But the herb will always keep to its own stage from the original, because the original is what bring the
But
value
it,
status.
it doesn't matter what they do to the herb will remain the herb. In a
But
some form.
Not in the original state.
In a some form, it will remain the herb.
So if we go around
And good
looking-
enough for us to consume.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I can say this now. I'm willing to accept, for the purpose of this discussion, I'm willing to accept that the herb is the tree of life. But where can I find the tree of life, the original tree of life, that gave it
That farm.
that characteristic, when it would have lost so many of those characteristics? How could we still refer to it as a tree of life? A lot of changes don't happen, man.
Yeah, we agree that. What the
I
Nital
did some research the other day because I'm into my doctoral studies.
Hope you get you
Yes, thanks a lot.
and pray the ancestors give
And-
you strength.
And you know what happened? He on. And you know what happened? It has been indicated that the marijuana, the potency, the strength of it would have increased many folds within the past 20 to 40 years.
Increase or decrease.
Increase the potency, the strength of it.
Yeah.
When you could have smoked 5 spliff and be in control of yourself. Right now, people smoking 2 and they're done for the day. You wake up the next morning.
And when you say done for the day, when you say done
They
for
clock
the day,
out, the job sleep.
the job
They
sleep.
wake up the next morning.
No only the home
Sometimes they
alone.
ain't even realize today is no longer Monday. You don't go Wednesday, carry job sleep for 2 days.
Healthy living is a part of the structure.
The potency, the strength of it.
But
You don't find it stronger. That's my goal.
let me say to you, Mr. Nital, right? I right now on the road I sell some watermelon. Where I put in on the farm, and is me wanna work most time. And I is able and I influence I hope to maintain what I do physically. Yeah. He hope don't put me in a frenzy where I got to go sleep or nothing like that.
How long you been smoking? Yeah, just give me an estimated number.
It's around about 45 years.
45 years. Okay, good. So you want to tell me now that over the 45-year period, you haven't sensed that the herb would have gotten stronger.
Stronger. It gets sweeter.
Right, so
It
you
just
give a
gets
better high.
sweeter to me.
Yeah, give a better high.
It give me a more mellow mood that I go focus. You know what I mean? Physically, spiritually.
Once ago, you would have had to smoke about, say, 5 spliffs in order to maintain that high and inspirational
But I never get on them level where I had to burn 5 and 6 split. I never get into the smoking habit, like just smoke.
Okay, I'm just putting a figure there.
Fine.
Okay, let us say 2. And now you find yourself just having to smoke 1. And it got the same effect on you, the same inspirational drive and everything else. Make you feel good that you do your watermelon by yourself, you don't want any help, and the watermelon them coming
Not
nice.
want no help.
Right.
Not that I ain't want no help. I'll be very happy with help.
Okay. Yes, so the herb would have gotten stronger. There were research done, experiment carried
So you
out.
feel that the strength they come from tampering?
But that's the same thing. It could have been a natural progression of the plant on its own, as well as there might have been persons who tailor the plant to produce a kind of potency, that type of strength.
Yeah. But I mean, the concept of the use to it will bring you into a high. It bring you into a, it's how your ability within your healthy living, because as we look at how things are now, it becomes much, you would say, intaking from a healthy living, intaking from a junkie stage. I'm not trying to discourage no youth, because basically we are young like ones. And when we look at how some of the method have been taken with smoking and drinking in a capacity is danger.
That is happening, but you got to be fair to people too. The youngsters then would have come around a time when the weed is much stronger than it used to be. And they have not learned the art of smoking properly.
No, Mr. Nital. The younger generation energy level is lower. So maybe you think it is the herb gets higher, but it's because their energy level getting lower.
Now, I'm telling you this from scientific
Naturally.
research that the herb would have gotten.
See, I talking from a natural aspect of thing. You tell me, yeah.
Right, so I'm telling you that the herb has definitely gotten stronger. But I'm saying that the youths them now.
That's from the lab.
Right,
The lab proved that it's getting stronger.
right.
Yeah.
But we are saying now that you're 45 years of smoking.
47 years. to be exact.
47. Okay, let's round it up to 50. The youths them come just now. You saw the weed progressing towards improved strength throughout the years. But the youths them come now with that powerful marijuana, and they don't know how to smoke. They'll be smoking in Newcastle, Newcastle in Nevis, and you could hear them coughing from death behind sinkage. They have not learned the art of smoking.
You know what making the youth them coughing?
What?
It is the amount of different chemicals what them a put on the plant. Once you go the herb naturally, you ain't got to cough when you burn a spliff. I just got herb a whole year, and the herb still good.
Yeah, but if you're going to swallow smoke particles, if you're going to swallow smoke, smoke has in particles that you're going to go down in your respiratory tract and block up some of your system.
No. If you bring all of the smoke together, right, what you get from the clearest smoke you will get is from the herb. Everything will be a little darker.
Yeah, but it's still smoke. And smoke would suggest particles associated with it. Because had it not been smoke, you'd have gotten off a gas. A gas, clear, clean everything, like oxygen gas, nitrogen gas. Clear, only thing you have is gas, pure gas. Not like the air in the air in the atmosphere. It has in about say 78-79% nitrogen. It has in oxygen about 20%. It has in carbon dioxide. It has in some other gases in the atmosphere. So out of the 100 that I took, only 20% of it is clear oxygen. But if I take 100% of pure oxygen, that is oxygen and oxygen alone. It's not contaminated. So when you smoke, I just tell us higher, it's over 420 something different chemicals you have inside of the weed. So when you light it, you're sending off chemical reaction between the chemicals inside there. So you can be absolutely certain.
You getting what you're looking at?
What that you know when you're swallowing. But all you know is that it gives you good inspiration.
Yes.
Give you a good feeling.
Yes.
But from a chemistry perspective, many chemicals gone on your system. If doctor got to go test, and God forbid something happened to a regular marijuana smoker, and they're trying to do a toxicology report and some analyses, but a pure confusion. Because 400 and something different chemicals, and they could combine with each other and form this and form that.
What happened to the people who are passed back and forth across the street, town and the city, where the barbecue will blow, that poisonous chicken smoke, that...
Same smoke particles inside there.
Okay.
You got things that can cause cancer inside of the smoke.
So if you designate smoke, you designate all the smoke?
All the smoking.
Okay, beautiful.
All the smoking. And I'm, 47 years. Why would you prefer to consume or engage in your usage of the tree of life by smoking it rather than making tea or whatever other option?
I use the herb in many different forms. Yeah.
So why the smoking is still
I even try it
entertaining?
I even try it in the blender.
Yeah, that is what.
I believe personally that enough people that smoke only smoke because of illegal status of the herb. Because I put one in a position where one have to hide, so you had the freedom of getting the herb at all time. So because you never had the freedom of getting it at all time now, you use it in a cured way where you could mask it.
So back then it used to be like a sneaky link.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to be caught by law enforcement. No, you have it there free.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the freedom that you would have gotten now, and it seems as if it's going to be maybe totally free in the next couple of years? What do you think about that, though?
It should have been free today. It should have always be free because it was always free. And I find it hard to believe that our leaders could have come back from United Nations gathering after United Nations asked them, according to Honorable Tim Harris, to go back to the respective island, our country, and legislate to stop abuse the citizens wrongfully for position.
Okay, well, a bit of that took place after the Sankofa judgment, right? But the funny thing about that is that it has been handled from a medicinal perspective. That is what is being spoken in the walls of Parliament. But then what we are witnessing from a pragmatic or practical perspective is recreational.
Because now Brother Nital is the same format the elder just outlined. Now this is something that is very serious, and it's something that's still troubling the mind of the society. Now, you outline that you indicate on the context of how you see the much is in medical marijuana, but medical herb, and you outline that you had seen more emphasis not pushing on recreation, but recreation it was one of the methods that was used in the 420 friendly for the music festival, where you see as in the cage setting. Designated area. What I would like to say in the aspect of our society that even on the level, we still seeing our society is stigma by where it's supposed to be able to have a safe ground for vital studies within the herb. The herb itself is not a danger to no one. I don't state that boldly, and I will state it again. It's only because of the ignorance that have been fed on our people from some of the legislation that outline is create this format and the genesis that we have now seen that we have to find ways and means of saying, oh, we want to go into a medical, not a medical, where the United Nations state to them that you cannot continue putting your people to criminal activities.
So why would you say that it doesn't create any harm for anybody? That is not a fair statement. You have tolerance. You have tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is asthmatic and you're smoking in the vicinity of that person, and the person gets an asthma attack, you can't say it ain't harmful because the person has a respiratory.
I could use the example where I'm just at the late Governor General funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the funeral. I was at the Moravian Church, and I intake my smoking outside, away from the church, and come back in with the scent of the smoking.
The molecules themselves on your clothes.
So when I reach in now, he had a nurse just away from I, and other nurses, because I just know he was the instrument he had carried on that level. Indicate that structure. So one of those nurses was in the background of the church with a pyro. It was to start, and a lady come, one who teach me, come and say, really? So I say, what do you mean really? Then she said, ain't anybody the same for this? I say, watch here, I did not violate nobody in here. No one I did not violate.
Technically you did.
I did not violate.
Even if you go out to smoke, the molecules of the smoke hugs on to your my body, and my clothes, hair all over
everything.
And when you come back, despite the fact that you're not bringing back the
fire itself,
intense
the
smoke,
fire.
The molecules themselves, and it's the molecules that we smell. If something doesn't produce molecule, you can't smell it, you know. You see, we can't smell here. The kind of molecules coming off of it. If I rub it with pine salt or something, the molecules occupy my nostril, so I could detect the scent.
Mr. Nital.
Yes.
But I like to tell you, Margo, just let me get you this here, because I find a lot of people who is using this method I was talking about, asthmatic, and using the term that when you smoke herb, you could trigger off the people them. But you know, we like to use this here. When you're asthmatic and you got a problem situated like that, the best format is to drink water. Water is the best circular of defining that treatment.
So if you drink water, what? And then you was taking your smoke?
No, you ain't telling you taking the smoke. You and breathe down because you got to breathe in. Many of our people don't study the breathing aspect of our livelihood. Breathing is a great element of intake as a therapeutic. Right,
I know where you're coming from because we had that discussion already. Go ahead,
Mr. Nital, the people, enough of the people who got problem with the scent of the herb is not because it natural scent of the herb but damage them. It's because of the mindset. The mindset of what alone of the herb, the negative aspect, what they put out on the herb. They put that inside of them and hold it in. That is enough of them problem.
So you want to tell me, I know they told you would say that the herb smell good.
The herb is the best incense done out.
But I would
Number one incense.
I would tell you that it has a stench that I can't tolerate.
Yeah.
But you could tolerate it because of your years of usage. But I don't like the scent. I don't call it an aroma. An aroma is more pleasant. I call it a stench. Both of you might call it an aroma. You love it. You understand? Are you going to be bobbing and weaving and trying to get out of the molecules and where? Because to some people it is a stench. Just like how some people put on perfume and to them it smells sweet and nice.
But
To somebody else it is offensive. You understand? But if you have your tree of life that you use, and I don't even know how they're going to put down or designate any smoking area, because it's not like a designated parking lot. You take a vehicle and you park it up in there. That is a solid that can't move. How could you take smoke and have it confined to a designated area? This is gas molecules. They're going to diffuse you out. Somebody could be smoking in the park. When I later forward the other day, smell it in Greenland. How come you reach over there? That wasn't supposed to be in a designated area.
You get a good haul, man. You get a good haul.
I nearly killed me tonight.
You get a good haul,
You get a
man.
good sleep, man. You get a good rest. They show you wake up feel happy
You
next
get a
morning.
good haul, man. That's
Knock
but-
me out, I don't even know what's going on. And they come from over the park.
From all the way over the back.
So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot confine a gas. You cannot confine a vapor like that. Once the concentration is there, it will keep moving. So when I hear about designated smoking area, what are you going to do? Smoke extractor, hang them up in the roof, let them extract the thing before they escape. Someone still escape. It's unfair to people. And up to now, you see them doing it since the music festival.
It's unfair to people
Who
to
don't
got,
smoke?
to got the designated smoking area.
But how you going to confine it to the area in a garage?
But it is fair to people to got the barbecue smoke blowing all over it.
No, you see, we always come back on the barbecue. I'm not saying that I don't be on barbecue smoke. I don't be on any smoke at all. And I'm saying that it is unfair for you to be smoking in the general public and causing other people to inhale it. If I have a neighbor, Rastafari neighbor, me not smoke, he smoke. He can't keep his smoke in the yard and come to my window. You think that is fair?
If flow out to the heavens, man, everything flow out in the heavens.
Is it fair?
It be fair because you're in your yard.
Well, let me tell you, just like how you got the land, you got the Sanko for this and that, and they provided you got a lot of concession. Maybe you want to put some locks and me hitting concession to bring in certain things. The same how they got the laws to assist Rastafari in the movement and the worshipping and everything else. They got laws on the book. They got something nuisance. If you create a nuisance,
to that neighbor.
the law said that you have to find a way to contain that nuisance. Just like if you got a bad dog in your yard and the dog could just jump over the fence, the law would get down on you, jump over the fence, bite up people's children, what would happen? That is a nuisance. That is your yard, but it could become a nuisance to your neighbor. So the same thing you got, you smoke, you can't keep it out there coming over my yard. That's a nuisance. We got laws and they book nuisance laws. So when you're freeing it up for the Rastafari, and sometimes you gotta get involved in politics, you don't vote.
You don't know, you understand that. You want
Because
me say,
I tired
you want me to say boldly?
Yeah.
That's why I do not take part in political concept. That's my view, and I have a personal view of why I say that.
Okay. Do you get involved in politics?
I just go to the poll and support whoever candidate I think I should support at the time. The last one I support was Dr. Terence Joe.
Okay. And he knows sweeten your hand a little more.
With the
So the next 4 or 5 elections, the concession them. You could go up the port and just take up something and go with it. Cheap. You hear the amount of concession they read out in Parliament for the Rastafari them to benefit from.
So
I mean, maybe they're deserving of it, because at the time when they used to suffer from the surgical discrimination.
the concession goes to individual or grouping. You all talk of grouping.
That is what I think. That was how you would have told me. He'd have been in the Hall of Parliament.
Well, I look at
It make no mention of individual.
It make no mention of the
Gotta be
individual,
groups
but
now.
It's grouping.
it indicate that of a one who can still lobby to of the group on that aspect to get the support he or she might intake on that within the concession.
And
I don't think it's based on the group in the format, because I stand the stage this year because in every roster that we have in Sinkers and Navies, I will be formulated, and in the aspect of a group, you have
individualism,
in the individual aspect of Rastafari from his or her view in how they see the format of the faith. So this is the level, but we have to, as you just outlined, tolerance, and this is the concept that we always see, that the Ifari, His Imperial Majesty taught us of tolerance of those of the different faith, because of those in the same format of the Rastafari community. Some of them don't see the level that how we see, but I mean that they are not the tenants of Rastafari, and we won't outline them in that format. And I put that there to any faction of Rastafari grouping, because we can't leave our people behind.
But where would you congregate to worship? An individual?
No, but we must be able to support his or her within their intention where they do.
So
we
you're
cannot
saying
forget them.
Whatever they would have put on paper should also be taken into account and be granted to the individual Rastafari?
Yes, because they suffers too of the concept. I could look at the experience of Rastafari who I know of my own, within not just in Bastille, but outside the Bastille, who is not a part even of no organization, but they're individual, and they contribute to the Rastafari community still in a wholesome way, and not just the Rastafari community, the whole entire society and all, on a large scale. We ain't got to call them by the name here tonight, but I know.
It is interesting how the government legislating the laws to better assist Rastafari in their quest for whatever chosen livelihood. However, you have Rastafari groups out here not getting on with each other. You hold a match. You hold a match, 26 of May, Liberation Day, 26 of... You know that song? I don't know which aspect of May, but you know the song,
25th of May, not the 26th of May.
Where they say the 26th.
Yeah, many people say the 26th,
Right.
but it's the 25th, in
And
full date.
you can find 50 Rastafari walking across the road. They're stagnant. Rastafari is supposed to be a movement.
It is a movement.
It's a movement.
Where is it moving?
Because
Quicksand?
let me just say this here, and I'm not going to say this because I'm looking at it from my experience, and I'm seeing that the ego have overtaken a lot of the initiative that I have able to heard of in the early years of Rastafari here in Sinks, and you have seen it too over your time, and it come like it's getting more innovative within getting that moment, keeping us from that way of how it was at the time of love, Isla Virgin, Isla Sistine, you see. And some of the methods have over the years in that time now have created, so to see how we know, realize now elders saying that youths don't have respect for elders, and youths are inclined and saying elders don't have respect for youths. And we like to say that these ego mindset have to be removed from the Rastafari format and the tenants, but we left that for the level that we must have better respect and respect to one another. Whether you're in a part of a group or you're individual, must show love and care, as His Majesty always emphasize, and that's how we're able to get over the kind of ego mindset that we're facing within the Rastafari movement.
Togetherness is an inherent aspect of the Rastafari movement.
That's true.
So why that togetherness is being diluted? Some going so, some going so, some. How everybody can just go in one converge instead of diverging? Why they just can't come together? What is the problem? Why when the Rastafari has a celebration, the numbers will be lacking? You have a lot of Rastafari movements around here, organizations.
We got a lot of people relaxed.
Well, dreadlocks. You say you don't have to be dread to be Rasta.
Not the marionette.
But what the problem really is?
The problem I view over the years is because one never let go that religious teachings that we get from that holy stage of life. And that become a conflict in one mind. That's how I view it over the years. Because I ain't see where one could pull yourself from general gathering of Rastafari because of I am more spiritual than somebody else. What make you more spiritual than somebody else?
You have constitutions?
Eh?
The various bodies got
The
constitutions?
Nyabingi have a guideline. The
Guideline?
Nyabingi Tiakosiada is operate on a guideline, and we get that guideline from our ancient elders, them of the Rastafari, Nyabingi Tiakosiada, and we able to always use this guideline to conceal our way forward in the unification of Rastafari community.
But when you take guidelines from other organizations and you compare them, they got a lot of difference, or they got like a nucleus, some common things as Rastafari that you all use?
Well, our guideline is from a spiritual aspiration. That's why we look at it. But in the group that we are part of, the ORU, which is a format within groups of different factions within the Rastafari tenants that make up the ORU between St. Kitts and Nevis, and the ORU is represented the organization of Rastafari Unity. We have Bobo Shanti representation there, we have Tiwali representation there, we have House of Judah representation, we have the Nyabingi Tiakosia, and it still have emphasis of individual Rastafari who was a part of the ORU in that format. So to get to your outline of the tugging and pulling that the elder in this kid, and we always try to insert that level, that the religious things that have formulated a lot of distraction to us. I, for one, I'm not a reader of the version. I'm a spiritual man within the scripture, so we don't just look at the Bible concept to liberate our mind. We read it, the scriptures, them, but we have different level of inserting our history, more value into the concept of developing our brothers and sisters as who we are. Spiritual people, meaning that we don't have no belief, we have knowing that the divine power is in his imperial majesty as the God and King, rule of creation. And you have a lot of people see it different, and we don't have to have no fear of that within their seeing, because that is their of their knowing. But we say we know of who we see as the divine creator, and we're not here to be competing as in the faith of Rastafari, because Rastafari is not about competing, it's about building and developing.
So if you have, it's like how you all worship, and you got a common denominator, worship even the little children, what is preventing the Rastafari movement from establishing a school so that the younger folks coming up under the Rastafari tutelage
Help us.
would be principled enough and stay on that trajectory that Rastafari would have established for the children? I'm talking about from an academic perspective now.
That's true.
Because they go into the schools and maybe the teaching that you're trying to give them and the principles you're trying to put between their two ears, they get diluted because they're going in a different environment. So apart from worshiping, why not think about establishing a school?
Those are some of the methods that they now bring the Tiakosiat and other group, because the Bobo Shanti have always tried on that level, not just as I know him from St. but I'm knowing from in Prince Emmanuel essence that Prince Emmanuel Charles the founding father of the Bobo Shanti, and he had able to shine some great emphasis at that make-up study that you just outlined. He had able to move from the heart of Kingston and go into the 10-mile radius of Bulbay and able to establish the camp that is now called the salvation of they have the Ethiopian, but the EB something I don't know the full variation to beat them, but the man that level that they had outlined and set up, he able to instill that tenets of their faith and the higher status quo. But a lot of influencers feel along with it, not in just the Bobo Shanti, even in the Nyabingi house, because right now we're seeing some phrases that have been displayed. ones have gone into different format for self-praise and self-aggrandizement, and which is that what we say. We're not of that, and that is not supposed to be in them kind of moment in Rastafari. And we're seeing it opening because of influence now.
Your views, Rasmago?
When it comes to that aspect of it, right, Senator, I think you is a powerful man in this country, and you could help Rastafari to get some compensation for our abuse over the many years wrongfully. So we will be able to establish the Rastafari school and all these things, and because Rastafari is on the move to all these things that you say right now. No? So the quicker you could help us get our compensation, we will get there a little faster.
So you mean we go him as a liar?
You realize all of us are Africans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need our reparation.
Well, the reparation will come. The aspect of reparation we you talk about will come from the colonial masters, right? But that we are Rastafari is asking for here, especially in St. Kitts Nevis, I'm referring to right now, is from the governmental program. Days where the abuse come from over the many years.
Yeah, and that is true. But you got other persons who are destitute, below the poverty line. They too could have an argument similar to Rastafari. Rastafari claiming that they were surgically discriminated against. They were punished unfairly. They were sent to prison.
Rastafari was physically abused by the authorities.
Right.
Over the many years.
So therefore you have other persons who might not be Rastafari, but they too got the good dose of suffering.
We outlined that too. That's something we had even, and I could say this year generally because of this month, the first Sunday in the month of August, the OIU had host the AG in a discussion towards of the same legislation that was impact to, as they say, designated area, freedom of conscience, the Rastafari rights bill, and then they say the next bill was the Misuse and Abuse Abatement Drug Act, and that's the context that we fight generally within the legislation of that formation under the farm administration too. That was one of the indications that I find that we should be able to mount a protest at the old set go after the judgment had handed down, and then they had the 90 days to outline the response to what the judgment had indicate, which is not a proper response still. And even to this one here of the new administration, it's not even a proper response on the farmer, because as you just outlined, those are people who suffer with that of Rastafari. You see, and that's one of the questions that outlined to the AG, and that dialogue that take place on the first Sunday in August, and that was, I think, was the 5th or the 6th of August, was the first Sunday. And when he take that is good gesture, because some of the things that they legislated was and the context of discussion properly taken. And I will say that without any grain of salt in my mouth. I find within the two discussions that was taken with the AG before they went into Parliament under the OIU, or discussion just to inflect what they don't had legislated in their format, not by what they heard from the rasters who were representing the OIU at that time with the two formal discussion. And even of the one that was recently with him at the first Sunday in August, I find he still have lost a lot. And the studies that he brought up in the discussion that we phrased up, because one of the burgeoning of Rastafari asked him, within that aspect of the Constitution, that what the judgment has stated, you're still violating our constitutional rights, because you put in 5 cheese, as you said, to go of every household, per household, as the legislation said. But you still have to go through a legal process to get that 5G. You hear me? So it's a contradicted way.
The legal process you have to go through.
You got to go to get
people
a license. You have to get a license, you know. You have to get a license.
You got people planting.
I just say, that the format they indicate.
That's what the bill says.
The bill is indicating
that
too.
One.
You have to have a license of going 5 cheese too.
To go 5G.
And staging still that you
cannot
have
your
cheese them displayed in front of your yard. You have to have them like in the back. So like you're still in the context.
So you got to prune the trees them so that they don't.
And he said
they don't come too high,
you
you
don't
know.
let your tree them go over you. Because that's so you see it's a proper discussion that those people who make up this format of the legislation is not people who use herb and who know the herb studies. And you, who is a chemist, they should able to have people who have background in proper, not watching from what you can be, whether you don't vote or you vote. You must be the person between the expertise and the ability and the character of he or her.
Well, you're around this marijuana discussion a long time now. I don't know if you remember. I used to be a part of the discussion with the marijuana committee.
Yeah.
You're very much an integral part of that.
Remember when we meet
And
you all with the
put a
time?
document. Remember what National Drug Council?
Yeah, that's what I tell you. Remember,
I go into the schools and I talk to the kids and I try.
Children, not kids. We ain't got no kids because we don't go around here.
Young people.
Yeah, young youths.
Right? And then you became a part of the overall thing again. They selected you. I think you were even on the TV in a discussion.
That was my invitation from the small business enterprise where they had that discussion of learning and the week activities.
So you would have had quite a number of platforms to concretize the position of the Rastafari.
But I mean that the structure of that concrete would bring more viable status unless we do the proper education, and that is what I stand on. Because when we did get the report to the farm administration and they asked us for recommendation, the recommendation made that we must have public education to have better formality and information.
Where's that document?
Of the report?
Yes.
Well, I have one in my possession personally, not here, but I keep it on me. And I even have the document of the CARICOM report. These are things that measures that need to imply within sharing the value of what the scores from the report of the CARICOM report and even of the National Commission report. Because when we look, we find many of the things are not properly stated in how we are looking to go forward in this, as they call it, an industrial aspect. Because Rastafari in Pharma have said, you can't give us no way to smoke up. We've been smoking up long time. What we need is to apply ourselves into the business trading of it, so we can make money in this farm and not be hurt in this development. Because we've seen it happening, and this is not the way we're looking to see that we're getting hurt and left behind again. Because if that is how it is, it can cause a lot of problems, and those who suffer it.
You think you could go by the bank and tell them that you want a loan to buy a good sized piece of land to produce marijuana? You think the bank will give you a loan for that?
No, the bank don't want to go into that phase because
so
why you think that Brother Nital is because of the same initiative that the LO outline is the wrong have done on the aspect of the herb, and to this day still. Because I remember when we was in the commission and all, we even meet with bankers, and one of the things the representative from the central bank come and tell us, they are running on regulation grounds within the international banking system.
Federal government in America.
Banking system, and he said that they have to go within what the policies that they have created towards. But one of the things we asked him, I particularly asked him, well, if that is so, as you are outlining, how is it that we're still seeing that this same thing that they're saying that is not good is still accumulating into their banking system? Because Canada just finalized the banking regular within from the hub into that same banking system within America and Canada.
We ain't got that here, because if you plant your marijuana, you make money. Which bank you gonna put it on?
Which
when
bank?
They do the due diligence, which bank you gonna keep your money warm in your shoes?
You sure? We could open a kind of warm on the system, because the system is so corrupt, right? And it's fraudulent when it comes to safety net of the economical stability, when we know we have a lot of wrongdoing through that banking system that creating a lot of errors.
When you don't get your license to grow your marijuana and you make your million, where you gonna put the money?
Right, and the same.
Which bank you gonna put
we could do like Qaddafi tell us.
Them can go and take your money.
No, we could create one bank. You know, we as
just give it to the people who need it.
in the early age of our ancestors, and you could testify because you all see it, and Mango, you all see it. Our people was able to create a wealth before even the call. Well, they had the penny bank, they used to call it, and then they created to they call it from the National Bank,
Bank of Commerce.
Bank of Commerce, and then they create. But it's the same poor people who build those same bank that we have on the emphasis of finance. But what we realize that we are not the creditors in the market of it. So we find ourselves just being the service to these people. Now we got to find a way, to make these people on the giant table. Because one of the things we got to tell them now, we have done a lot for this system and the system, and unless you are really ready to see us as the same method of how the system is creating to say the economical prosperity and letting our people see that values it in the prosperity, it make no sense we put money in the bank no more.
You think poor people start to work hard? Rastafari, poor, you start to work hard. You go, you purchase a vehicle, a pickup, whatever, to help you play your trade. You go to the insurance company. They want to know where you get the money from to buy the vehicle. Due diligence, if you can come up with a proper explanation, they're not insuring your vehicle. You understand? It's due diligence. They have that thing across Liverpool Road here. And they will check and back check to see.
If all of this is for make up in what you're stating, are you presenting to them?
Where you get money from?
Anyway,
So the bank don't give you a problem in the first place because the bank ain't giving you no money to go buy no land, to go on a marijuana. So that's number one.
You think the bank won't get involved, though? You think the bank will get involved in this?
Well,
this
we are part of international convention. You understand? We have acceded and ratified to certain international conventions. And as much as the locals would prefer this to happen and that to happen, we have to comply with these conventions.
We ain't ready about the Nital land. I mean, we ain't ready for social
Of course,
development.
we ain't ready.
So we ain't got to get no money from the bank to go.
We ain't get money from.
We just get the seed and we go.
Yeah, but we ain't get the land from. We ain't acquired
We
the
got a
land
lot
from.
of land already, man.
Yeah, but when the government started to put down and the billionaires them start to come and they take the acreage, where you gonna get land from? You got to go work for them.
No, man.
So we got from a
So you're saying that we going right back to the sugar industry, married and the whole
I'm
operation?
going to liken it now. We are from a sugar plantation to marijuana plantation.
Okay.
Just the laborers will be. I understand we send some people to Canada. What we send them to do? To learn how to grow marijuana. So we have people here who hand good with the soil and could grow marijuana. What we want is a dispensary.
Mine go some beautiful one.
You see one of the things where you just outline about the dispensary. Now this is one of the methods that we're looking at from repertory justice to create data and research so we can continue having our youths them goes into those fields. The young ones them, because we know at this point in time we can't detail and say we're going to find ways to say we're going to set ourselves out of that. We have to find ways to create our youths them into that now.
Agro processing.
Into that level.
You go in Canada to learn how to grow marijuana. When you got to send somebody to go and become a dispenser and open a dispensary.
And set up your development.
And you need a doctor to specialize in that area to put dosages to it, because if you're in a dispensary, you have to have a doctor to write the prescription to give you this, give you that. Who doctor here could write a prescription for you to take to a dispensary and get the proper dosage of the marijuana product that you want? But we are far to go.
So you're saying that they send off people to Canada to learn
how to plant
instead of going to do other
more advanced stuff. So we don't making up our minds.
So we ain't creating
to
the
be
values.
laborers.
But we are good planters already.
Yeah, but we ain't creating the values for the context of the movements.
The planting ain't what we want. We are good planters already. We are good somebody better.
You hear I tell you
where you gonna sell it?
When we ask,
we're gonna do the marketing.
What do you mean we're gonna do the marketing?
How you gonna secure the market outside? We're going to do the promotion outside for us. But the quality weed we have.
So we can sell them just like we used to sell them with sugar cane.
Do we have a St. Kitts ban on marijuana? When somebody wants a St. Kitts ban, what it is, we got to compete with the other regions, the St. Vincent, the St. Lucia, the Jamaica. What brand we have to call our own?
So what brand is St. Vincent got that called?
The same thing with the import to make a lot of money from. You got people that import herbs.
From St. Vincent?
Where would they get it from?
Yes, sir.
Because they see it as a higher quality. What type of marijuana can we call a St. Kitts ban?
That was one of the question. That was one of the question formulated in the same discussion with the age. That was something that come out in what can be a strain, and in this same discourse of that, he was able to outline about the what they call the thing, the copyright, some kind of level.
What we on copyright? We got something we call our own.
Well, these are measures because we have people here
the
doing.
Purple, this and
Yeah,
this
people
and that.
here. People have some strain around here in St. Kitts. They have values of herb here,
You see what happened?
Yeah, value of herb here
You're
in
talking
St.
about
Kitts.
strain now, you know.
No, because I'm telling you
want to tell me about the original.
I'm just telling you the context of going through.
You still want to tell me about the original tree of life.
Yeah, the original.
But you don't tell me about the many strains we have around
you
here.
have people who have strain around here.
Deviating from the norm.
You have people who have strain around here. I'm not going to hide nothing.
Right. But that's a strain developed because we deviate from the origin. So that's why I tell you, if you could take me someplace to give me some original marijuana.
I'll take you someplace, man.
But that's a strain you're talking about.
I'm going to take you someplace, so don't worry.
You just say to the strain.
I just tell you that some people may tell you that you don't have things happening that an outline to it, that these are the herbs that are within graphing. People do graphing right now with herb and this way.
So we're going further away from the original?
Yes.
So how the hell could we still
the original is still around, man.
We still have the tree of life.
The original is still around, but Nital.
Anyhow, we have
this vibe that I would like to say too, right? And I'm glad for this.
Before you do that, you can take about 2 minutes, wrap up, take about 2 minutes because we're done now.
Okay, then. All right.
Yeah. Well, I give thanks to be here. Even though that I was late, I apologize for the lateness. You know what I mean? Because of the situation. But Nital, I will like to say in wrapping up that it is time for we stop penalize citizens of the land for possession. It is very important for us to do so. Because United Nations never give our government a layout how to legislate to stop the abuse for possession. So all the United Nations was asking from our government and so-called leaders, heads of leaders, is to come back to their respective island country and stand up like a man and woman and legislate to stop abuse their citizens for possession. Because possession was never the problem with the herb ever in life. The problem that he had surrounding the herb all along is illegal status, not possession.
Yeah, possession with the intent to supply.
Wow.
Based on the quantity you have, they're going to say, well, the only place you're going with is your head can't take all of that. So you think it's to supply other people.
Possession was never the problem because the herb was always free.
Possession ain't the problem. Possession with the intent to supply.
The illegal status is the problem. That's why you see that intent to supply, because the herb was something like a mango, a breadfruit, you know what I mean? And all these other things. These other plants. Yeah. That's what we hope, you know. It's just a few people that come up under the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act that say that the herb is illegal, you know, and they only do that for their own benefit, you know.
Yeah, we know the history of it.
So we can continue to penalize our citizens for that. The people who I think should be penalized at this time should be the government for their abuse over the many years.
Yeah, but they're looking after that. Incrementally, they're looking after that.
So that's
what you intend to do?
To
when they free up, what aspect you going to do? Just go?
No.
And when we go here and just smoke off all in Sengit, but
No,
you might
man.
as well put a shed over thing and call us a psychiatric ward.
Well, you out of my idea, man.
We gonna do a lot of things
we just be
that we could
gross?
make money
No.
from it as well.
We have methods and ways to create avenues of our youth.
But there's no trajectory taking us down that path.
Because you,
Are you going to Canada go learn how to grow?
when you say you just use the term
But you're part of it.
How you could say
You
I
write in the fall.
Okay,
I see it on the television. I see it on in the corridors of Parliament. The wrap up.
I will like to wrap up here now. Thanks a lot, Brother Nital, for the invitation and here again for us to have a dialogue of this magnitude that is very vital to our society. And we like to say thanks for our humble royal queen who was on the backbone of to feed us this feed of life, feed it in the society and even in on the global world. But we like to phrase up that it's time now we go into the proper stage of education and the way to go forward in dialoguing properly to bring a format of sharing information and development and, as we say, research, so we can be able to have proper dispute within how the industry and the market will be safe to our people in the region. And you realize I say in the region and that things and lives alone because we cannot captivate this industry by ourselves. We must go together as a regional approach. We cannot. It will hurt us in the long run. So thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And I'm still waiting an invitation for you to show me where I could get the original.
The original
brand.
And we like to say thanks for Sugar City FM for this better way of education to our people. Continue your good work, and Brother Nital, a condolence again on your behalf for the family and I the Rastafari community.
Yeah, thanks
to your family. Blessed love.
Okay.
The opinions and statements made by the host